Welcome to our Horizen Weekly Insider number 45. Today is June the 18th, and happy Thursday to you all. Please remember that this call is being recorded, and we're going live now on YouTube and as well on Discord. And you can also check this call later on our Horizen podcast. Please also remember to be asking your questions on Menti so we can have our regular Q&A session at the end of this call. So now I'll proceed and I'll pass the word to Luca to give us the updates from the engineering department.
Thanks, Angie. Today we probably have the biggest engineering update since we do weekly insiders. So that's exciting. And Alberto Garofalo, Director of R&D, is here with us today and is going to tell us the news. So please, Alberto, feel free to continue here.
Oh, thanks, Luca. Yes. Okay, let me say that after, more than 8 months of work, we have published right now the beta preview release, that is consisting in more than 100,000 lines of code. So for us, this is a huge milestone because we have been able to build a fully decentralized sidechain system. So, the first positive thing is that all the team members and the engineering team in special are still alive. It has been very hard, but they're still alive.
And you too, Alberto, you too.
I survived too, yes. We have been facing a lot of challenges, both on the SDK side, from a model perspective first, and then from, let me say, a coding perspective, both on the SDK, both on the main chain. We published other libraries that were used. We introduced specific circuits and proving systems. So, it has a very, long journey. But okay, we are still alive, and we have been finally able to publish this Zendoo beta preview. So currently the source code is available. The Sidechain SDK code is in the default branch, and all the changes that we made are published. So you have the full node implementation for, let me say, ready to be used by the developers. So you have a Sidechain node with Ouroboros-based proof-of-stake consensus, modified for managing multi-chain, with RPC commands and forward transfers and all the stuff that is needed to being able to interact with the main chain and provide basic functionality as a sidechain node. For example, the implementation includes a demo circuit that will allow the developer to generate a withdrawal certificate at each withdrawal epoch. This comes out of the box, and so you don't have to pay attention to it. It will be, let me say, ready and available to be used. Also, on the Zendoo side, on the main chain side, we created, in this case, an ad hoc repository that contains all the changes for enabling sidechains, and the repo is called, Zendoo, Zendoo_00. This contains all the changes that are enabling the sidechains. So this means, for example, the possibility via RPC to create a new sidechain, to instantiate one, to send some funds there, to interact with them by, for example, knowing the balance of a specific sidechain, has the RPC method for submitting the certificate, and this is in particular used by the SDK to interact with it. There is all that is needed for let me say, making it work with the sidechain. And and obviously, guys, feel free to look at what we published, at the repositories, and look at the code. And please feel free to look at it and help us to improve it. Okay. After that, we also started publishing a specific sidechain testnet. And this was done obviously for us for starting testing everything on a real environment. And this for us is a let me say an ongoing process. So we will be proceeding in the next days with the tests, specifically on this testnet environment that is different, obviously, from the reg test environment. But I mean, you are already able to interact with this testnet by declaring a new sidechain, start a sidechain network, interacting with it, and I mean, you will be able to play with the system, performing the basic commands, for example, sending funds and seeing if you are able to get back the funds from a sidechain. But for sure, Chronic will provide more details about the sidechain testnet. And okay, another important topic is the documentation. We wrote an initial and basic version with it, but obviously we are still we're already in the process of improving it to make the life easier for developers. You know, because there are many new things, and so it can be I can imagine can be hard to start, but I mean, we are trying to make the documentation better and to help anyone that want to start looking at it to make his life easier.
And if I may add, Alberto, something, we will also have 2 team members from the engineering team available to provide answers to any question you may have related to sidechains, for example, here on Discord. So feel free to ask us anything. You can do it in the sidechain channel here. And that's it. They will come back to you with answers as fast as possible. So read the documentation, but don't be shy if you have any question.
Yeah, sure. Absolutely.
Hey, guys, what about some simple apps?
So, the SDK, right. Yeah, that's right. I mean, the SDK comes with a simple app. So let me say that you will be able to instantiate a sidechain network using this simple app. I mean, as I was saying before, there are in this simple app, you have let me say basic functionalities implemented for the sidechain. This means that you will have a sidechain node ready to interact with other sidechain nodes. It will be able to receive RPC commands, for example, for exchange coins inside the sidechain. So you will be able to send coins to someone else. You will be able to receive coins from the main chain. You will be able to, for example, request a backward transfers from sidechain to main chain. And this backward transfer automatically will be collected in the withdrawal certificate. As I was saying before, a proof will be generated. You don't have to take care of it because we already implemented a demo circuit that will generate this proof. And the node will automatically generate the certificate, attach the proof, and send it to mainchain. And then mainchain will accept it and make the money available on the mainchain side. So yeah, this simple app already implements all these, and so you will be able to start testing it without let me say big troubles. I mean, you don't have to code anything specific because this will be covered by the simple app. Okay, and this is regarding the simple app. I mean, The last thing is obviously we already started working on the improvements that we identified so far, and we are also in the next days we are going to schedule the next phases because we have a lot of stuff also to do. Today is a celebration day, so beta preview is out.
That's very cool. Thank you, Alberto. That was a great update.
Thank you, Luke. Bye.
Back to Angie.
Awesome updates. Now let's continue with Rowan for the Helpdesk updates.
Hey guys, Rowan here reporting. I will be giving you today the Helpdesk report of this week. So scrolling up to the graphs, we can see that we had a total of 64 tickets this week. 64.1% comes from the faucet, and the remaining 35.9% is described in the bar chart below. So the product with more tickets in the is the faucet, and the most common issue within the faucet was users using a VPN service to access the faucet. We just kindly instruct them to disable the VPN when accessing the faucet, and this will solve the issue. On the Sphere side, the most common issue was users having problem to remember their login credentials. We instruct them to create a new account and restore their wallet with their backup phrase. Apart from this, we are doing our best to improve the user experience on the Sphere application, since this has been a common issue over months now, people forgetting their credentials or their backup phrase. So we are designing a new account creation and a wallet restore flow, which will solve this issue and make it more friendly to the user. On the customer satisfaction side, we got a total of 4.8, almost a perfect grade out of 5 from 13 users. And that's it from the Helpdesk side. Back to you, Angie.
Thank you, Ruben. Let's continue with some infra updates from Chronic.
Yes, like Alberto already covered a lot, but our parallel sidechain testnet is up and running. So if you want to start testing sidechains, testing our simple application based on the guides and documentation in the Sidechains SDK repository, what you would have to do is clone the Zencash official zen_oo repository and follow the instructions to install all needed dependencies to build it, and then build Zend. Once you have Zend built, all you would need to do is start Zend with the -testnet = 1 switch, and Zend would start syncing to our sidechain testnet. We currently are running 4 nodes, which are mining and keeping the chain going. And we're also working on a couple of other nodes. There are also some limited block explorers available, which I'm happy to share links with in a bit, and we can add them to our documentation as well. So please check it out, start testing. And if you do find any issues, please feel free to report them on the Zendoo GitHub repository.
Thank you, Chronic. Let's continue with Gustavo for some UX updates.
Hey, everyone. So congratulations to the whole team for this amazing milestone. So really exciting times. So on our side, we are going to release the Horizen Early Adopter Program. So we'll have Lucy speak a little bit about that. And speaking of deliveries, we also have the Horizen Developer Environment going live next week. And in the meantime, we also been working on faucet improvements, and we are also working on the homepage redesign. So it's been a busy few weeks for the whole team, so we are super excited. And that's all.
Thank you, Gustavo. Let's continue with Rowan for some BD updates.
Hello, everyone. Thanks, Angie. And big congratulations to the engineering team. Super exciting to see it going live. Projects that the BD team are working on are primarily longer term. So there's no kind of big splash announcement to make today. We are making small incremental progress, and the 2 big programs that we have on the go, that mic. Yep, Rosario, nice clean mic now. Nice echo-free room, hopefully. So yeah, the two main projects we have at the moment, we have developer outreach, I guess kind of like an assistant to the main effort there, trying to pull in game developers, Java developers, and smaller software companies for a variety of different reasons, assisting the engineering team really trying to make a splash with Sidechain Beta Preview, and also trying to get some more game developers interested in developing games or just simply publishing existing games on the community hub for our growth division. The other big task we have ongoing is a merchant adoption program. This is definitely a longer term project. At the moment, we're basically wargaming a variety of different potential strategies, trying to figure out what tools we're going to require to really make the most of this, and basically set the wheels in motion so that when we're ready to pivot as an organization to prioritize this above everything else, we've got everything in place and we can make it happen. The bread and butter for us is obviously integrations, trying to make Zen either more accessible or more useful. And right now we have more conversations ongoing than I think we've had in a long, long time. Very, very, very busy. And a really wide variety of different organizations. So excited about announcements we can make over the next few weeks. Quite a few of them are very, very close to being ready to push out, but nothing that I can announce just yet. Beyond that, on the operations side, we've got a variety of different kind of process improvement type exercises ongoing, as well as the usual budgetary mission. One thing that's going to be coming out relatively soon, just a heads up to the rest of the team, is a finalized KPI scorecard. We still need to get kind of final review and approval from the leadership team. Once that's done, we'll roll it up into a process and we'll have a much more clearly defined performance management and KPI set to run forward with. So excited about that as well. And that's pretty much it from me at the moment. I'll pass back to Vano or anybody else on the BD team if they want to jump in with an update.
Hello everyone, Vano speaking. So as I said last week, we have started translating our Academy Eli 5 and beginner content for our Russian language community, and we are posting it at 4 o'clock hub. The Eli 5 content has already been finished and Russian language speakers can check it on the link below. We will continue the translations with the beginner content and also continuing about integrations to make it easy to have exposure to Zen for our community. We have been in talks with a pretty large Eastern European exchange for quite some time already, and the partnership is now going ahead. And very soon we'll be able to name the exchange itself during the next Weekly Insider or right after it, I hope. It's also worth mentioning that the exchange itself is not limited to Eastern Europe, but also serves a global market. This is all from me now, and huge congratulations to the engineering team for the great milestone. Back to you, Angie.
Awesome. Thank you, Rowan and Vano. Let's continue now with Lucy for the marketing updates.
Hello, everyone. First and foremost, a big congrats to the engineering team for this amazing milestone. I know everyone has been working very, very hard for the past 8 or 9 months. I hope they can finally get some rest this weekend. So, of course, the focus of this week has been the release of the beta preview version of the Zendoo. We'll be releasing the official announcement shortly after this call. So this is exactly why coming to our weekly insider is important, because you basically get to be the first ones to receive big announcements like this one before our official announcement. So I think that's pretty special. Speaking of being special, so other than our Zendoo and weekly insider, we are going to officially launch another program that gives people special access to our to some pre-release insights. So it is our early adopter program, aka HEAP, stands for Horizen Early Adopter Program. So HEAP gives opportunities for developers to gain exclusive and early access to Horizen's newest releases and product features before they are public available. So we mentioned HEAP briefly in our last weekly insider. And we previously sent out a call out to all Java developers. So that was what initiated the early adopter program. So we feel that making this initiative an ongoing effort for cultivating developer community will be very beneficial to the development of the Horizen products and ecosystem, and it also very beneficial for developers as well who are interested in contributing to the testing process, or just want to try out our new products or features before they become public available. So Heap is also a very important tool for us to improve our platform and products based on the real user feedback that we will get from our Heap members. So far we have already received almost 200 developers registrations, Heap registrations, and they are waiting to use Zendoo. So yeah, right now we have Zendoo on Testnet, and then it is now accessible for developers on Heap. So if you are Java or Scala developer, you should join and try to launch your first blockchain with Zendoo. Wow, that sounds really cool. Launch your first blockchain. So, okay, so the Heap website will be live shortly after this call. So stay tuned and keep an eye on our social media feeds. That's it from me, really. Again, congratulations, everyone. Back to you, Angie.
Thank you, Lucy. And now let's welcome Jonathan from the Growth Team. Updates.
Hey, everyone. I feel self-conscious speaking after that mic. Lucy, if you could send me the link to that mic, that would be great. I appreciate it. So again, a big congratulations to the engineering team. This is a long time coming, and I also want to say congratulations to the marketing team, especially headed by Lucy, who has done an amazing job handling just an immense amount of tasks coming at her every probably hour, I would say, or in the last couple of days, every 15 minutes. So great job, especially Linda, Erica, everybody who's helping out on the marketing team. So thank you. And on my end, so we had a great call with Zombie Soup, the developer game, the developer who has the games. And we should have a beta version of our game incorporating Zen on the Android store by the end of next week. So once that launches, we will be sending a link to the community to help test it and give it a try and get your feedback. In addition to that, we're full speed ahead on incorporating forums into the community hub. And we're also looking at some of the comments we received from people who are not familiar with crypto and figuring out how do we make the faucet and the hub more friendly for crypto newbies. Because in order for us to be successful, we really have to start converting people who are new to crypto. And that requires a lot of analysis and research into what are their pain points and then how can we help them. And that's it for me. Again, big congratulations. Bye.
Thank you, Jonathan. Let's continue with Rosario for product and engineering.
Hi, everyone. Rosario here. What an exciting day. Zendoo is live on Testnet, and we have the Horizen Early Developer Program also going out shortly. So we finalized our first phase of developer outreach planning, and that's culminating with the launch of Heap and HDE along with other activities. And we've identified metrics that will help us continue adjusting that strategy and growing our developer community as well. As Luca mentioned, we have 2 developers from the SDK team that will be monitoring Sidechain, the Sidechain channel on Discord, and of course the GitHub Sidechain SDK repo. So we welcome your participation there, and please ask questions as you come through. And again, you are contributing to the early development of the SDK. On a side note, Sphere continues development of the sidechain, integrating Sidechain. And I'm happy to report that Paolo closed 4 open issues, production issues, that will improve the usability of Sphere. And Ruben mentioned this, but I wanted to highlight that based on the Helpdesk issue analysis, we've identified a common issue, and that is the account creation flow. And Ruben spearheaded that. So big shout out for Ruben for spearheading that and getting feedback from the rest of the UX team on improving that flow. And of course, marketing will play also a role in improving that. And Sphere is our customer-facing product. So it's important that we have a customer-facing product that reflects the amazing depth of our engineering team. So this is an important effort for us. And finally, our engineering team just concluded a Herculean effort with the initial release of Zendoo. And they are supported by other departments. So shout out for infrastructure, marketing, UX, all who participated in the release prep for Zendoo. And of course, the work is not complete by any means. This is only the start of the work. And I know maybe Alberto doesn't want to hear that for this second, since it's been a race to get to this point. But there are additional features that are going to be implemented, additional functionality and improvements to the code. And of course, the documentation is also going to be a big part of that to be improved. And then all this is culminating for, of course, expanding our developer community. And of course, BD is going to be playing a huge role in this going forward, and is playing a role now with starting this. But now Zendoo is here, and we can start building on Horizen today. Thank you.
Thank you, Rosario. And now let's welcome Rob for the final part and Q&A session.
Thank you, Angie. And building on Horizen today, I love that. That's exactly right. So first of all, I love seeing all of the regulars joining this call. It's always nice to have this Horizen family, joining these calls and getting the in-person or in-depth look at what we're doing as a project. But it's also awesome seeing all of the new faces here. So welcome to everyone. I think you'll find this a very open, supportive, productive environment, and what we consider a crypto community ought to be. So what I'll do here before I dive into just really reinforcing and extending the engineering stuff that you've heard, which by the way, this is what you've heard today is by far the most important, and I'll just say the most important engineering update that we've ever given as a project. So from launch to this, and I would say the effort here is multiple orders of magnitude more significant than launching this project. So what we did here is really launching a brand new project on top of what we've been doing. So before I get into all that, I'm going to talk a little bit about business and strategy. So we have some interesting things going on, and like Rowan alluded to, we always had this annoying habit of saying we have amazing things ongoing. We wish we could tell you. Well, sorry, that's also my message. But what I can say in a little bit more detail, just to give you a flavor for some of the categories that we're looking into. So we've opened discussions with a few other important public blockchain projects. And the big question with them, these are projects that you all know and have heard about, and they also have their own large and diehard communities out there, and they're also doing important work in different dimensions. Well, the question was, what can we do together? Could we do some joint R&D together if we have specific problems that we jointly share? Could we look at the different projects in the sense of, say, like division of labor with competitive advantage, where maybe we can do certain things that those other projects, for whatever reason, can't or don't want to do, and vice versa. And one angle that we're looking at that seems quite promising is, as we've been extending our own zero-knowledge tools, and particularly for data privacy with Zendoo, it opens up a brand new door for us for looking at strategic collaboration with other projects. So there are projects out there that they know that they have some services that require privacy, but for whatever reason, they don't want to build these directly into their layer one or their own blockchain directly, but they might be able to leverage our services, providing privacy services for their users. And this, to me, is the sweet spot, and this is what we're looking at with some strategic partnerships across the industry. So more to come on that, but it's actually extremely exciting just to have these kinds of conversations. Now, another business item that Rowan mentioned, and it's something that we're really just starting, but and we'll get into a lot more detail over the coming weeks and months, but merchants. So projects don't usually consider merchants as an active stakeholder group to the extent where they consider merchants in, say, governance decisions, or merchants, as active members in their community, or merchants as evangelists. But we do, and this is something that I want to start pushing on more as a project. So merchants can and ought to be powerful advocates for driving real-world usage. So, Zendoo is a very powerful technology, and we'll get into more of the implications of it. But right now, we have on our mainnet our most important product, which is Zen, the cryptocurrency. And merchants could be the most powerful advocates for driving real-world usage of Zen. So we want merchants to enter our ecosystem, and we want to consider them as important stakeholders that we need to, go out of our way to attract, give them good reason to come here, and then funnel them through in a productive way so that they become increasingly involved with Horizen. And then ultimately, at the end of this funnel, we want them to become evangelists of what we're doing and actually push our products to their clients. That would be the ultimate goal of this campaign. So also this provides us, now that we're looking at Horizen opening up as an actual platform in Zendoo, this provides us with a pool of future business users for our technology that goes beyond just that. So we can focus right now on the product that we have on our mainnet, which is Zen, but the merchant users that we accumulate over time will be users for other blockchain services that perhaps they could make use of Zendoo to achieve. So this is all part of a larger effort now for real-world adoption of Zen and getting our future products out there to our market. So it's kind of this push-pull strategy that we have of, yes, we're building fantastic technology that truly is defining the technology frontier for the industry with Zendoo, but at the same time, we're also cultivating the distribution channels for making it useful. Now, the distribution channels include this very large and, I would say, increasingly sophisticated developer community building effort that you're going to be hearing more about over the coming weeks and months, but also just on the end user side with merchants and people that just use our products. So that's that on the business and strategy updates, guys. Now let me go into the main focus of this weekly insider, which is the Zendoo beta preview that was just published this week. So the testnet just went live as well, and a blog is going out today with more details about it. HEAP, the Horizen Early Adopter Program, is going live with a testnet faucet and a whole bunch of documentation. I say a whole bunch, but the preliminary start of some documentation, all being published today. And the repositories have already been live, from earlier this week. And this is all just the start of a huge effort that we're kicking off to drive as many developers as possible to test out the SDK. So there are so many reasons for why this is a big deal, and we've been talking about this for months. Going from concept development to 2 different white papers on the sidechain system. From the first white paper that introduced the idea of decoupled consensus to the most recent Zendoo paper, which was much more sophisticated and included some tantalizing details about recursive snarks being used for security from sidechain to mainnet, and so much more from there. We've had a lot of discussions about this. Even from something that we've mentioned before and Alberto highlighted today is this is over 100,000 lines of code. So to Rosario's point, a Herculean effort on the engineering side. So there are many projects in this industry. Obviously, there are thousands of projects. There are probably only a dozen or 2 dozen projects that can do sophisticated engineering deliveries like this. And we're really proud to say that Horizen is one of these projects. Horizen, the engineering team that we have here, is truly one of the best in the industry. And this fact will be better known to people as Zendoo gets out there and people start using our SDK more. We're not going to sit around and wait with hope that people come and use it. We're actually going out there quite aggressively across all divisions of this organization. So why is this a big deal? From the technology perspective, this is the first decentralized sidechain system to hit the industry. This fact is something that is certainly not appreciated out there yet to the extent that it ought to be. So I've been seeing social media recently, and I saw one post actually a couple of days ago that mentioned the hot innovations for this industry this year in 2020. And Zendoo and Horizen were not listed in this list of 10 projects, which is absolutely absurd. Absolutely absurd, and we're going to get, this will change. Now, it will change because we're going out there in a very productive fashion and cultivating a significant developer community building effort. So this code base, these 100,000 lines of code, was something that was built entirely from scratch, an innovation and invention that we had, an invention from Alberto that translated into a Herculean effort from our very, very sophisticated engineering team to bring to market. So we're extremely happy with this. It's an achievement that we're extremely proud of, and it goes beyond just the engineering. So getting this to market goes beyond just the Herculean engineering effort. There was a huge effort that maybe you had a bit of a hint about, hearing the different divisions reporting, and just this weekly insider, everything from parallel testnets being set up by the infrastructure team. That is a non-trivial effort in itself to make sure that the software is going to be able to run, and developers can actually have an environment that they can quickly deploy and not have to focus too much effort on just the environmental basics. We have a testnet faucet that was delivered. This is an effort from our marketing, our growth teams, our UX teams. We have the Horizen Early Adopter Program. It is a very complex thing. It may sound simple, but there's a complex amount of communications to go into this. Everyone from Rosario to engineering to our marketing team and UX teams have put this together, and BD's going out there and actually getting engineering companies, software companies, and other software developers to start using the SDK. So really, I want to give you guys a flavor for the complexity of bringing something like this to market. It's not like we just took a code base, forked it, and we're writing a blog about it. This is a huge effort. That is truly, Alberto mentioned 8 months of development, but this goes way beyond 8 months, from concept development to modeling and then actually starting to build it. So the way I look at this is 2 years worth of effort. This is the core of what makes Horizen unique and important to the market and to the industry right now. So let me see what else I have in my notes here for you guys. So probably the most important statistic from the HEAP program is that we already have roughly 200 Java developers over the last 2 weeks that we have very, I would say, low effort into attracting, because we wanted these to be really insiders of the project and friends of the project, because this is a beta preview still, and we're going to be launching the official beta in the coming weeks. But for this early release, this preview release, we wanted developers who are familiar with the project, who have been following the project for some time, and are okay with a product that they will actually be actively participating and improving before we get the official beta out there. But having over 200 or roughly 200 Java developers in 2 weeks now, without any advertising, without some very critical news, we are going to be now launching a bounty program with the Horizen developer environment, launching next week. So this bounty program is part of what we've been talking about for several weeks now, about providing incentives for developers to actually come in with competitions to develop sidechain applications. Well, the first thing I want developers to do is actually just use the SDK. Use the SDK and help us improve the SDK, help us improve documentation, help us make the environment easier to deploy, just really anything that would make developers' lives easier. We want this early group of 200 developers to participate as really early evangelists to help us set the framework, set the environment, and get the tools is optimal for the next wave of developers to come in. So I briefly mentioned HDE is going live next week. This is also a really big deal, and this is a project that's over 6 months in coming that we've been talking about. And a little more context here, because I know that we have some new people joining this call or listening to the stream afterwards. Yeah, the Horizen Developer Environment, HDE, is our solution to what we considered some frictions in open source development. So what we want to do, and what's extremely important for us as a project, is to bring in an army of open source developers to productively contribute to this ecosystem. And that contribution spans the ecosystem. It's not just with Zendoo, but now Zendoo provides the tools, an extremely important toolkit for developers to do something extremely important with extending our ecosystem via sidechains and functions that function-specific sidechains. So this is where we're looking at applications like tokenization platforms, where we're looking at various registries and all of the things that people talk about blockchain being good at. we want to unleash a wave of innovation with Zendoo. And HDE is going to play a critical role here, and even going beyond just Zendoo. This will also be the two problems solved here that we're looking to solve with HDE is we want to curate productive engineering opportunities for developers to span the entire gambit of developers. Everyone from developers learning to code right now or learning how to develop to those who are extremely sophisticated senior developers and architects, and we want everything in between. So we're going to be curating opportunities for you to productively contribute to our ecosystem and pay you to do it, because the economics are important. We're just not expecting pure goodwill here. We want goodwill mixed with proper economics, that we align incentives with contribution on the margin. So the two problems that I was alluding here, knowing what to do to contribute, and then also being compensated to do it, so that in my ideal world, HDE will be the portal for creating a decentralized work ecosystem, so that people can contribute to the project and say, not those who are not maybe part of our core team right now, and I say core team in quotes, because this is an ecosystem that spans well beyond this team that the foundation right now that you're hearing from is building. So this ecosystem spans well beyond the foundation and well beyond some of the corporate partners who have already joined the ecosystem. So guys, this is a huge deal. Everything that's being released with Zendoo, you're going to see dozens of hackathons built around it. You're going to see significant economic incentives and rewards being targeted into this ecosystem. And I have to say, this is the end of the beginning for us. And now everything that you're going to see, this is the way I look at this. This is the next phase, really the next big phase from where we launched to where we are now. We're going down a new road. So guys, I could not be more excited and could not be more proud to be part of this team. I'll stop here and we can open it up to any Minty questions.
Wow, Rob, that's so exciting. I couldn't even find my my little mic tab. Okay, so first question, what is the progress on being listed on Coinbase?
This is a question that I'm going to be very tactfully, ambiguous on. So I'll just say we don't know. And I would open up to Rowan, but I know Rowan's going to say the same thing in probably a more tactful way than I would. But the reality is, I'll say Coinbase. The Coinbase team is the most professional team that I've come across, and I'm not on the pointy end of the spear for our org in this area. This is Rowan's area of responsibility. But from my perspective, they're extremely responsible and professional and do not leak any information of when we'd be listed, if we're going to be listed, if a decision's been made. But we're going through the process entirely. So they went through a very serious diligence process, even to get us to the point of that blog post that they released last week that mentioned us as one of 18 projects that they're doing diligence on for listing. So I don't know, Rowan, if there's anything else that you can add in terms of process here, but I think the answer is we don't really know timeline, at least.
No, you've absolutely nailed that, Rob. Nothing really to add there at all. It's a long process, and they take a lot of care in stopping anybody guessing when they do or don't do anything. So perfect.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. I mean, I'm just as curious as you guys. I've been harassing Rowan, the same question, I get the same answer. So I can.
Me too. I think we all harass Rowan.
Yeah, I can confirm that. Okay, so the second question. Congrats on the sidechain code release. Well, thank you. How will supernodes interact with the sidechains? Will node operators be able to choose which sidechain they host? What about reports?
So the answer is yes, of course. Node operators will be able to choose which sidechains they're going to host. And I can tell you the vision here is we want a competitive marketplace where we facilitate the discovery process between new sidechains, so sidechain developers or businesses that are launching sidechains, and our node operators. So our job is to facilitate that discovery and to help match people who might want to work together. And ideally, this will culminate in a sort of decentralized marketplace for node services or hosting services. That's the vision. We'll see where it goes. As of right now, the next big thing that Alberto and team need to work on is going to be the economic incentives and actually honing in on the economic incentives and how those are going to play a role across the ecosystem, across that entire value chain of a business or a developer that wants to launch a sidechain, the app that's running on that sidechain, what it's doing, the incentives that need to flow from users of that app to the different stakeholders within that sidechain, everyone from block forgers to the developer themselves, and how they get compensated, and how that then flows through the certificate process back to the main chain, and how miners on the main chain need to be rewarded, and then how node operators need to be rewarded to actually run the sidechain software. So there's a very, I would say, sophisticated value chain that needs to be fleshed out in a little bit more detail in terms of the economics. But as of right now, what you're seeing with Beta Preview is the skeleton framework for, at least on the technology side. But the economics, I would say, in the long run for this going viral or not, or being a standard or not, will actually in large part come down to how we get the economics.
Thank you, Rob. My super notes are ready, just so you know.
Mine too. Absolutely.
Okay, so last question. If stablecoin is in the plan to be built on Horizen system, do you already have partnership with bank or other financial institutions, or is this not decided?
So I'll say something a little cryptic here. So Horizen Labs actually did have a banking partnership, or I would say still does technically have a partnership with a bank. But that bank has not moved forward on a stablecoin concept, which was the idea of the partnership. Now, that said, that's kind of a corporate thing that goes beyond this conversation. But what I can tell you from my perspective here is absolutely I'm extremely interested in exploring a stablecoin concept, and ideally a whole suite of stablecoin concepts. So every stablecoin concept that exists in the ecosystem today, everything from parking dollars or euro or whatever currency you want, gold into a bank or a vault, and issuing a one-for-one token on that, all the way to the more decentralized, or the truly decentralized versions where you actually have dynamic asset collateralization of smart contracts that then have a synthetic product that would be like a synthetic dollar, like DAI is, for instance. Everything in between. And there's no reason why we shouldn't be looking at all of these as possibilities for what we can do now with Zendoo. And I can tell you that the team is, at least it's on our radar as something that we absolutely want to explore in more detail. I wish I could tell you that we have already. So we've done a preliminary discovery of what exists on the market, but we haven't yet mapped out to how we could do it with our technology. Now, clearly, we could, with Zendoo, we'd be able to just issue a one-for-one token if we had a relationship with a bank. So the technology's there, and the technology will soon be there for doing more dynamic asset collateralization in a decentralized way. Without going any further in terms of my preferences, I'll just say that yes, absolutely, we're looking in multiple fronts for how to solve this problem, because I think it's absolutely critical. And this ties back to all of these things that we're doing. It's kind of like this four-dimensional chess game that we're playing. But it also goes back to the merchant adoption program. And with the corporate partnerships that we have, in particular on the Horizen Lab side, we've been cultivating very large distribution channels for how we would then plug a stablecoin product into an actual marketplace with lots of merchants. So that's why we're also now focusing on this merchant adoption program, because ultimately we want, or we need to be successful, we need a very large distribution channel to plug our products. And one of those very important products would be a stablecoin, or many stablecoins. I feel like a politician today. I'm not actually answering any questions, but I'm saying a lot of words.
No, those are perfect. Really excited about both merchant adoptions, and this is something that we will be marketing, will be working on with BD. So it's definitely going to be a long-term effort for sure, but really excited for what's coming. Okay, that's it. Thank you. These are the top 3 questions for today's Weekly Insider. And we will post rest of the questions and answers on the Weekly Insider chat channel here on Discord. And if you are listening on YouTube, you can ask your questions in the comment section. So thank you and congratulations, everyone, again. Stay safe. Back to you, Angie.
Awesome. Thank you, everyone, for being here. I really hope to see you on our next Weekly Insider. Stay safe. See you soon. Bye.
Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, everybody. Bye-bye.
Bye. Ciao.
Bye, guys.
Bye, guys.
Thanks, everyone. Take care.